If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No. So much has happened since we last talked. Trump won the presidency. The Fed cut rates by 25 basis points. Now, what does this mean for the market? And how is the Fed going to operate under Trump? Because I think that this will bring a ton of volatility to the market in the next few years. Let's get right into it. Oh, and Tesla finally hit $1 trillion market cap at 318 as of the time of this recording. Congrats to the dip buyers. I did a video back in July and a video back in April. Our last buys on Tesla were 220 and 152. So congrats to those of you that followed along. All right, so first let's get right into the election. If you followed my analysis on YouTube as well as X, you will see that I said that the market was pricing in a Trump victory early. We saw Bitcoin rallying. We saw the 10-year rallying. We saw Tesla rallying. It was clear that the market was pricing in a Trump rally. Now, is the market always right? No. But the fact is the market was pricing in a Trump victory early on, right? We saw Trump winning. Tesla rocketed as suspected, Bitcoin rocketed as suspected, and then we saw a jump in the 10-year, and now we are seeing a retracement. So far the analysis is playing out. Now, yesterday, as of the time of this recording, Jerome Powell cut interest rates by 25 basis points. That was expected, 99% expected in the market, according to Fed funds futures traders. Now, what's kind of murky is whether they cut again in December. But before we get there, let's talk about the Fed under Trump and what that could mean for your stock portfolio. So famously, Jerome Powell and Trump didn't get along back when Trump was president. In 2019, before the pandemic, Trump tried to pressure Jerome Powell into cutting rates even when the economy was strong, because obviously zero rates means easy money, means that the economy will grow easily, means that the stock market has a chance of growing as well, but also means that we are at risk for inflation. Jerome Powell did finally cave in and bring rates down, even though he says it wasn't due to White House pressure. Now, the last Jackson Hole speech, as well as, every FOMC meeting minutes, as well as every FOMC meeting since the summer, Jerome Powell has said that we are getting close to neutral rate and that he sees 3% as the neutral Fed funds rate. What does this mean? This means that we are no longer, or the Fed is not planning on bringing rates back to zero, especially since we are coming out, hopefully, of a major inflationary cycle, right? We cannot bring rates back to zero quickly. Trump is a low rates kind of president. He's a fan of low rates. He's not the only one. Obama was too. Most of Obama's presidency, we were at zero rates as well, which is why we saw the greatest bull market in history. So it's not a surprise that presidents are a fan of low rates. The only difference here is that Trump is actually also a pressure kind of guy, right? He has put pressure on the Fed before. He will put pressure on the Fed again. And this is why during Jerome Powell's speech yesterday at the FOMC, they asked him he would step down if Trump asked him to. And he said,
some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No. That definitely is going to go down as one of the greatest Jerome Powell memes. It was hilarious. But what this means is that there's going to be a tit-for-tat battle between the Fed and the president, right? The president doesn't get inaugurated until January. And no doubt in my mind that by January, we will have cut maybe another 25 basis points, maybe not. If you look at the Fed's funds futures, because of strong data still, right, and the fear of inflation coming back, the Fed is going to be playing it safe, and there's a chance that they don't cut at all in December. So by the time we have a new president inaugurated, the Fed could either have cut by another 25 basis points or not cut at all. So the Fed funds futures rate is still going to be relatively high compared to where we were during Trump's first presidency and during Obama's 2 terms, right? So I think that this tit-for-tat battle between Jerome Powell and Donald Trump is going to cause volatility in the market because there's going to be a lot of unknowns. Donald Trump is going to try to pressure the Fed to bring the Fed funds futures rate down, and Jerome Powell is going to try to push back. Now, eventually he might relent. I don't know. This is where, because of this unknown, I think it will cause a lot of volatility in the markets. And as a day trader, I'm all here for it. I miss the really volatile days in the market. If you're a day trader, you love that. If you're not a day trader, you don't. And in terms of the stock market after elections, as long as the election happens in a bull market, the following year is usually bullish, except for when we have a rate cutting cycle. So I don't think we are out of the woods yet. I think November will be bullish. The rest of November, I think December will be bullish. But after that, right, once the 10-year and 3-month uninvert and the 10-year is back to its status, paying higher than the lower end yields. And this is what typically leads to a recession. But with Trump at the helm, I don't know how successful he'll be at forcing Jerome Powell to drop rates, especially if unemployment is starting to take a hit. So I think November and December are going to be bullish. Actually, as of the time of this recording, the S&P is very close to hitting 6,000. And I think we will see wild swings next year as the standoff between Jerome Powell and Donald Trump takes hold. But shout out to you guys if you followed the election trading plan. If you want access to all of my trades, click the link in the description below. We have an investors only membership if you're not interested in day trading. And then we have the full day trading membership that also includes the long-term investing, where you get to watch me live trade every single morning as well. So pick whichever one is right for you. But also, if you follow me on X, IG, and YouTube, you will get a lot. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think Donald Trump is going to force Jerome Powell to do. Do you think Jerome Powell is going to step down? Do you think he's going to cave into Trump? Would love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.